The report clears Qatar to stage the 2022 tournament. It found any rule breaches by the Qatari or Russian bid teams were of limited scope. It also concluded that any offences did not cross the threshold that would see the bidding process reopened. There was criticism for England, and in particular their relationship with the former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner. Well, the inquiry was unhappy with the decision to agree to pay for a dinner for Warner, which cost £35,000. The report concluded that England damaged the integrity of the bidding process, albeit in a limited way. Well, we're joined from Westminster by the Conservative MP Damian Collins, who's called for the Serious Fraud Office to investigate allegations of corruption within FIFA, and also by Kevin Carpenter, a sports lawyer for Hill Dickinson. Kevin, to you first. No real surprises here, many will say in this report. Is this the end of the process now? Do all sides now just have to move on and accept that all legal avenues are now closed and that Qatar will be hosting this World Cup in 2022?
Good morning. Well, as you say, it is certainly of little surprise, the report, and that is a sad indictment, really, of the governance of world football at the moment. However, I don't think it is the end of the process. Indeed, in the report, Mr Eckert does say that there are certain other individuals who they will be looking to do further investigation of. And there was discussion before this report was released about whether the entire report could be released to the public. And it makes clear in the regulations that only when final decisions have been made against certain individuals can that happen. So that may well now happen sometime in the spring of next year.
Damian Collins, the FA hasn't really covered itself in glory here, has it? It showed that it tried to woo Jack Warner and showed that we are not whiter than white.
Well, the FA need to answer for their own conduct during the bid, but this is a massive smokescreen, designed to distract us by FIFA from the core failings of this report. I mean, the truth is they admitted themselves that this inquiry had no powers of subpoena. It couldn't request documents that weren't freely given, couldn't look into bank details. So the core allegations, the meat of all of this, the questions were millions of dollars paid by bidding countries into the bank accounts of senior FIFA officials. They've not got to the bottom of that, and that was really what this investigation was all about. It was very limited and sadly flawed. I mean, we've had a process where there's not been an independent investigation. FIFA has investigated itself and, not surprisingly, found itself not guilty.
Kevin Carpenter, limited, flawed, not independent. Are those all words that you would use in relation to this report also?
I think we've got to be careful when talking about Mr Garcia, who did the report, who's a very high-ranking lawyer in America, of questioning his independence. Of course, certainly the fact that it was funded by FIFA does question its integrity. However, when talking about a flawed process, certainly that they did not have the powers that a police force would, for example, and if there any further action to be taken when you were just talking about payments made into bank accounts perhaps, then it would be up to the law enforcement agencies in those countries to investigate any such payments that have been made.
Damian Collins, do you get the sense that they have slightly picked off the low-hanging fruit here in directing their criticism at the FA? You described it as a smokescreen a little earlier.
Yes, and probably because the FA have cooperated fully with the investigation, and therefore, they've reported back on their evidence. I mean, FIFA. I mean, remember as well, there were 11 members of the executive committee of FIFA who were involved in awarding the World Cup to Qatar and Russia, who've left football largely under the cloud of allegations of bribery and corruption. They only managed to talk to 5 of those 11 people. The rest wouldn't cooperate with the investigation. So, they've not looked properly at all the serious areas of allegations of bribery and corruption around the bidding process. I believe in the case of Russia, the Russian bid told them they'd lost all their emails to do with the bid process and therefore could go no further. I mean, I think it's a disgrace.
Kevin Carpenter, are there any legal options left to anybody to now say this isn't independent enough, we want a really true independent investigation, or is this as independent as it is going to get?
Well, I think apart from the measures I mentioned previously, I think really it comes down to a political question now. And governments, in particular national governments around the world, have to put pressure on FIFA as much as possible. We've seen in the past that Mr Blatter is impervious to this sort of pressure. And unfortunately, until he has left the FIFA presidency, I don't see a great deal changing.
OK, Kevin Carpenter, Damian Collins, thank you both very much.